All right. The first one is live action narrative.
Shut up.
We already had somebody ask what a live action narrative is. The second one being documentary. The difference between the two is that essentially you're talking fiction and nonfiction.
Oh,
Not always.
Isn't it like when somebody's doing something and somebody's narrating it, like you said?
No, well, that is a narrator, and they come from the same kind of root words. That's a good question. But what a narrative is a story that you tell, right? And so is a documentary. The difference is the narrative you can make up. The documentary you can craft in a way to tell the story the way that you want to tell it, right? But generally, documentaries are about nonfiction, real-life things, right? And narrative, it can be like just any story that you want to tell. So if it's a science fiction thing, or a thriller, or a horror film, or even a love story, if you're writing the script and people are saying things that you're telling them to say because you're trying to tell this story that you made up, it's a live action narrative. If you're trying to tell the story about someone you know, or some place you know, or some phenomenon that's happening in your area that's unique, that's a documentary where you're just asking people questions and they're saying their responses to whatever it is that you're asking them about, because they're the experts on the subject, right? So there's a couple of things that I want you to know about these two things. With a live action narrative, you need to have a good script. And you also need to have people who can deliver your script well. Maybe it's not your best friends. Maybe it is. But it should be the best people that you can find to fit the roles that you've written. Or, the other thing is you can always bring in a writer if it's another student. You don't have to write this. You have to produce it. If you know somebody who writes really good stories from your English class, or from somewhere else, some friend of yours that's good at writing stories, have them write a story. Now keep in mind on both of these we have a 10-minute time frame, which does seem like a long time and also might seem like a short time. It really is a short time to tell a full story, right? This whole beginning, middle, and end movie concept with a climax and ascending, rising actions and whatever else you might have learned about, it's not a lot of time to tell a story with multiple scenes and really get into it, allowing for dramatic pauses and emotional reactions and things like that. So think about telling a scene from within a movie, or a couple of scenes within a movie. Again, you don't have to use the full 10 minutes. 10 minutes is your maximum limit. But you could come into a scene, and like we've talked about before, not necessarily giving everybody all of the information, like, hi, I'm Jim, I'm the main character, and I'm a plumber. You could just have the person be plumbing, right, and you get all of that information. Then you tell the story of something that's happening and leave the ending open, or leave part of it a mystery. You don't have to explain who every character is, and you don't have to explain, what's going to happen next. You can leave that up to your viewer to decide, and sometimes that can be the good thing, right? The documentary. Thanks, Jake. Jake Beck.
Back everyone.
This is going on the FIlM EXPO
Hell no.
page, YouTube. All the kids from other schools are going to watch this. So, Jake Beck. The documentary, I want to caution you to not try to tell the story of some big thing, right? Some big thing like depression. Some big thing like music, right? Like high school relationships. To try to cover this big abstract topic is ridiculous in 10 minutes. Not only are you or no one you know an expert on any one of these things as a broad topic, what you and the people that you know are experts on are individual examples of these broad topics. So if you're going to tell a story that's about, youth in America, you're going to tell the story of one youth who lives specifically in your town, which is a representative sample of America, or a few youths and their personal stories. It's when we get personal and you introduce a person that is an example of this broader topic, whether it be, the struggles of being a working parent teenager, or if it's just somebody who's trying to get into a college, or somebody who's trying to make the team, or somebody who's an artist trying to find their voice, right? It's the story about that person's personal struggle that's relatable to other humans who are watching this thing. And those are the kind of stories that really, make people feel the feels, right, for documentaries, whatever those feels might be. Animation can be any type of animation. It could be stop motion. It could be, you're physically animating puppets and things like that, and doing short videos and things like that. You could do it in After Effects. But for our video class, I want you to mainly focus on live action, documentary, or experimental. With experimental, it could be like our art videos. It could be any one of the things, juxtaposing shots together. It could be creative editing. It could be creative lighting. It could be something. But you want to have, with that one, and with all of them, you want to have a clear purpose and intent, which means that you want your audience, having had watched your film, to get maybe not exactly all the same idea, but to get an idea of what they're supposed to think about your film or how they're supposed to feel, right? You want to go into this thing, I want to make people scared, I want to make people laugh, I want to make people excited about this thing, I want to make people find out more information about this thing, I want to make people feel uncomfortable, I want to make people want to explore more ways to use a video camera creatively. Right? All of these things are things that you can do, but that needs to be the beginning of your good idea. Because like I said before, it's good ideas that win film festivals, not equipment, not fancy editing necessarily, right? And not, being in the right place at the right time all the time, right? It's coming up with that good plan to make people feel the feels, whatever they might be. Does it make a little more sense now?